All right, you guys, thank you for coming for our Friday Success Series. We have a special guest with us today named Tyler Carter. Tyler has been with us. I'm just gonna, I forgot to pull this up. I'm gonna read your bio real fast. That way we totally understand who you are and why you deserve some face time with us today. Tyler is originally from South Metro Atlanta and moved to East Cobb in 2011 and currently lives in Buckhead. He went to KSU and got a degree in business administration and a major in management and a minor in real estate. Tyler then got a chance to pursue a career in real estate, found an awesome opportunity with the Curtin team. He joined the team about 4 years ago in 2016, was named Rookie of the Year with our office in his first year in real estate. And then the following year won the Buyer's Agent of the Year award. So this is no slouch we're looking at here. When he's not working, Tyler is a golfer and volunteers with the Boy Scouts of America. He is an Eagle Scout and loves being outdoors and playing with classic cars. Bless you. Is that a very thorough way of introducing you? I appreciate you spending the time to write that up. So Tyler, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to kind of guide you a little bit in some of the content that we share. And then towards the end, we'll open it up for Q&A. So let me introduce you to, we have a group here that's kind of a mix between experienced agents and newer agents. One of the messages that I want you to share with everyone today is I want to talk about mindset. I want to talk about what your approach to the business is from a mental standpoint. I know that you have attracted a couple people to Keller Williams, so I want you to share. And you also work with the Curtins, who are notorious for being attractors of people to Keller Williams. So I'm sure some content about wealth building and profit share is kind of in your environment over there. I'd like to make sure we touch on that. I'd also like you to speak to teams, right? We have agents that kind of have a somewhat of an understanding about why would somebody join a team and why would somebody stay on a team, right? You know how to sell homes, right? What good is a team to you? So I want you to share, what maybe attracted you to teams in the first place and what keeps you there today. And then also, one thing I've always admired about you is you appear to just be a learning-based guy, right? You're always trying to figure out, how do I improve this? How do I improve that? How do I become more efficient here? And also, just knowing you from afar, it always seems like you're having fun. And I know that sometimes, we all know that real estate can be, kind of stressful sometimes. And, sometimes we have very high highs and pretty low lows, but you always seem to be, put together and energetic and full of energy. And I'd love for you to speak to, how do you stay consistent that way? And I just want to turn over the floor to you and obviously thank you for spending some time with us today. I know your time is valuable and I'm very grateful for that. So tell us, give us a good overview of how you came into real estate, why Keller Williams, and then let's start by talking about your affiliation with the Curtins and what you love about that.
Okay. Yeah. So, during college, really all the way through high school, college, my plan was to go Disney corporate, do something, with Disney. Grew up a big Disney, fan and, deep love of the company and everything about it. Did an internship with Disney during college, actually took, basically 6 months off of college, moved down there. After working down there for 6 months, I realized that's definitely could never probably call South Florida home to make the money and make the goals I wanted to. Would probably mean me moving to Southern California, which is definitely a great place to visit. But as a Southern boy, as you can probably hear in my voice, probably nowhere I could live for an extended period of time. And then of course, family is very important to me. So, got to stay close to family. So, kind of the best thing I got out of that internship was that, it kind of burned that bridge for me a little bit. So came back, kind of scrambled, hey, you've been going to college for this whole time. What are you going to do? And always was somewhat interested in real estate. Knew that, kind of learned some of this the hard way through my family, learned it from the positive side from my family, but on other fronts, but that, investing was definitely important. The cheesy line I've always given was that, hey, I'm never going to be smart enough to figure out the stock market. So, real estate definitely seems like more up my line to where I can, work a job and invest at the same time. So then, kind of started preparing, changed my minor to real estate, started preparing, my last couple of years of college for real estate. But didn't have a lot of routes to go, didn't really know too much. And then basically after I graduated, I did know somebody who was currently on the Curtin team, a personal friend of mine. Basically all I knew is that she made good money, or at least, felt like she did, and that she had a good work lifestyle balance ratio. And she was definitely in the areas I wanted to work. Being from the south side of town, I remember I came to Live After 5 actually during college, and I was like, this is where I want to be. Even the Live After 5 is totally different than anything I've ever seen, just the group of people that's there. And I was like, loved Roswell, and was like, this is where I need to be selling homes. This is where I want to raise a family one day. So, just basically I've always told people this, whenever I'm recruiting, people to Keller Williams and I'm super upfront about it, is that, hey, I didn't do a lot of research on brokerages. I didn't know anything about teams. All I knew is that there was this lady who I knew who, made what I thought was good money. And I'm kind of a person, I'm not sure whether it shows up on my DISC profile, but I'm the one who goes with like a personal relationship over reading reviews. So she introduced me to the Curtin team. They said, hey, can you go, 6 months without an income? Being a broke college kid, yeah, that's no problem for me. I still got, plenty of ramen noodles left. They're like, all right, we'll go get licensed and, give us a ring back. And so, I called Tom Curtin, 2 weeks after went from unlicensed, knowing nothing, to a fully licensed real estate agent, passing all the tests in 2.5 weeks. I called him back and was like, hey, I'm ready. He's like, no, you don't understand. You actually got to take the course, pass the test. And I was going through the class as if, that was kind of my interview, being a younger guy with no real estate experience. So I was like, no, I'm good. So was able to, get in with the Curtin team. And so, like I said, didn't research anywhere else, just found a home there. Since then, I've definitely, I've never really looked into other brokerages, but, just talking with friends, whoever I'm recruiting, or, other people I've met in real estate, have definitely, seen, kind of the pros and cons, mostly cons of other brokerages. Have just stayed happy over at the Curtin team. Every year I, break down numbers as to, hey, here's what you made on the Curtin team. Here's how much you would have made if you were by yourself. Here's how much, you would have made at a discount brokerage or regular brokerage. And, still constantly every year, it's, being on the Curtin team is what, gets me the most money. So that's the first thing, that I think agents definitely look at. But, there's a lot of other factors as well that, kind of keeps me there, keeps me happy.
So in general, let's go back to some of your major success. I mean, it's no small feat to be the Rookie of the Year in the Market Center. So that was 2016, is that right?
So I started with the Curtins, basically Halloween 2016. So it was my first, then, 2017 came. So it was actually the year of 2017.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Awesome. And then the following year you were Buyer's Agent of the Year.
Correct.
And then I think the following year you were Best Dressed or something, right?
No, I don't think I won that award. But yeah. And then, just like in real estate, I definitely was still hunting for that Buyer's Agent of the Year, but there's ebbs and flows to the business. So, didn't have a good as a 2019 as I did a 18, or at least somebody, I think I may have had even a better year than 1918, but somebody else in the Awesome Roswell office kicked me out of it. So.
All right, so talk a little bit about, I mean, you're making well over six figures as a buyer's agent, aren't you?
Yeah, that's our goal. You never know, you know what that looks like, but yeah, that's the main goal. Well, I set my goals for higher than that, but yeah, that's the bare minimum that we strive for.
Beautiful. So generally speaking, I don't want to put you in an awkward spot here, but I've always
I'm an
thought,
open book, so I mean, there's no reason not to be totally honest. So just I'll shoot it to you straight.
all right, so I'll give you and everyone on the call kind of a very brief of what I think a buyer's agent, what's up with a buyer's agent, right? Why would you want to be a buyer's agent? I think that one of the primary reasons is because you get to partner with somebody with a bigger network, right? Branding and systems and tools and tech already in place, right? And oftentimes there's some leads earned, right? If you do the following thing, then the lead spigot opens up. If you don't hit these standards, the lead spigot doesn't open up, right? And then of course there's mentorship and accountability and leadership involved as well. And almost always there's some form of contract to close or administrative and marketing assistance. And so people will walk into when they're considering a buyer's team and they'll say, or a team, and they'll say, well, 50%, and oftentimes, sometimes it's more than that. Why would I pay that? Be like, you got an in-house assistant, all of your branding and systems and checklists and tools and templates and all that is in place. All you got to do is show up in lead gen and go on the appointments. And then you bring the file back and you're like, here, assistant, take this to the closing. I'm going on another appointment.
Yep.
So it's really just a different, kind of schedule altogether. And then you find people that oftentimes will stay on a team because they really enjoy that culture and that camaraderie. And then you end up sometimes finding people, there's many examples in the office of people that say, okay, I learned what I need to learn. I want to go be the boss. And either decision is totally fine. I always say that rather than, I mean, you jumped on because you had a tight relationship with somebody already on the team, but my recommendation is always come into the office and like, just do exactly what we tell you to do and clobber it. And then the teams will fight over you, right? And you'll have a little bit more of a negotiation play there. What's your commentary on teams? Do you think I'm off base?
No, not at all. And especially, I may have had counterpoints to that a couple of years ago, maybe when I was less educated, or have seen, agents, come lead the teams, leave brokerages, change around. I've helped a lot of people, become agents, search out brokerages, that kind of pulls in my recruiting piece. But yeah, I think what you're saying now is definitely more of an accurate temperature of the, basically how the buyer's agent, role works now, and what teams are looking for, is especially your more experienced teams, which is where you want to be. I think that, a lot of people look at joining a team as, hey, it's easier. I'm not doing, if they're not doing those activities by, on their own, they think that that's just the easy way to get leads. I struggle to say that it's easier to I think it's easier being on a team. I think it's easier to make money. But if you think that the job is going to be easier, or that you're going to get out of some of those very essential activities that we talk about, that's definitely not the case.
Well, I would piggyback on that to say, if it does happen to appear to be the case, that's a red flag.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
If somebody hires you before they do a KPA or put you through career visioning, or if somebody just throws a bunch of leads at you and say, I'm too busy to help, just deal with these, you need to run.
Yeah.
You need to run. Joanne and Tom, they're in Gary's 100, right? They're one of the top 100 teams in the entire country, right? They get FaceTime, well, maybe not FaceTime right now, but they get Zoom time with Gary, and used to get FaceTime with Gary on a quarterly basis. So Tyler is one person away from Gary Keller. Gary Keller's got a new idea. Tyler knows about it before anybody. See what I'm saying? So you can't underestimate the network that you're building right now simply because you are a rock star in that world.
Yep, absolutely. And when you were, I think the biggest thing with teams that it comes down to is a lot of people, whether they are hesitant on joining a team or if they, ever leave a team, I think, obviously I think the biggest hurdle or the biggest, point of contention is the splits with teams. And is even something to be, like I said, I'm an open book is definitely something that, I've definitely had those little weird things creep in too. Little, devil on my shoulder, so to say. And, when you look at, what the splits are, but, what I say to people, whether they're looking to, join a team or they're just now getting into real estate is, I'm like, hey, look, this is where I'm still making the most money. And you just can't look at that paycheck you get after your closing and, think that, when you see, what the splits are, feel like you're owed that other half. My little cheesy line is, half of something is better than 100% of nothing.
I was about to say your cheesy line, I guess. I was about to say, hey, would you rather get 50% of 10 million and have a ton of experience and work with one of the best in the business?
Yeah.
Or would you rather struggle, think you can do it yourself, not have any focus or discipline, and sell 3 homes in a year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing is you have to realize that it's volume based on the buy side. So, we're required to have, 3-4 closings a month. And, sometimes that's the agent's whole year, or they get, 2 under contract this month. So now they're like, wash their hands, I'm good, because they're kind of used to all that. But, apart from, Keller Williams is very friendly towards teams, and, the way your compensation goes with capping out with, a lot less of the cap and, capping, I usually cap out in, depending on, my cap renews here in November. So, hopefully I usually have pretty good Novembers and Decembers here in the Atlanta market. So I'm usually capping out by the first of the year. And so that's basically, at least 9 months of, no Keller Williams cap. Then it's just the team split. But because we're such a volume-based business, there's a lot of expertise that comes with that, because I am usually, writing more offers than, your solo agent who's closing, even a successful, solo agent who is, doing, let's say, 12 deals a year. That may be pretty good depending on the price point for, your solo agent. Our goals are a lot more loftier than that. So, all the expertise that comes with just showing a lot of houses, writing a lot of offers, getting in front of a lot of those clients, because, just because you talk to a client doesn't mean that, you're going to close them. So the more opportunity you have for that, the more you got to kind of, sharpen your skills. And I think that's very important for new agents, because whenever you do all the hard parts of finding a client, especially the ideal client that you want to have. We would always hope they would be a friend or family, but, those higher priced clients, the ones who, act out of the, are the easiest to deal with, good price points, all that good stuff. I would never want to, I do all the hard part to finally find a lead. Here I got somebody, and then I'm not able to convert them because, I don't have an expertise. And I think that was a big hurdle for me at the beginning, and definitely something that I, leaned on the team for, is that, I was starting fresh out of college. And here I'm asking this total professional, couple who know more about real estate than I do at the time. I've never, at the time, had never even bought or sold a home myself. And, they've probably bought and sold, several homes in their lifetime. And I'm asking them to trust me with their biggest investment.
Right. And they're buying a big house, an expensive home.
They're buying a big house there. And we're going to trust, with all the saturation of agents in this market, we're going to trust, this 26-year-old kid or this, brand new agent or whatever it may be. So, it's hard enough to find people. That's our job. 80% of our job is just finding more clients, finding more people, finding those better clients.
Yep.
And man, that would be horrible to, like, find that ideal client and then, lose out or, fumble it up somewhere along the way. So I definitely think that helped, just the volume of contracts and, the amount of people I'm talking to helps in a couple ways, because, it's kind of like the difference between commercial and residential. Commercial being less volume based, residential being more volume based. If, a commercial deal falls through, well, that could be, one agent's entire year. When they do close, that's really good. Same way with a solo agent. If you only have 2 or 3 people in your pipeline and one of those, drop off, then, there goes a 30-year projected income. To where, when I have a volume-based business, one client saying they're going to rent instead of buy, I'm not losing any sleep over it, because it's just more. So, and that helps in so many other ways throughout the transaction. You
don't have commission breath.
Whenever it comes to, either dealing with a difficult client or, dealing with once you get them under contract, dealing with a, aggressive amendment to address concerns, or, a really hard listing, that's not wanting to be ideal. When you're not totally attached to that specific outcome and, hey, I absolutely need this to close, it definitely helps you sleep a lot easier.
And you don't have a commission breath, right? It's like, exactly, you really can be a consultant. Look, if it turns out that this house that your buyer thought they loved is a dump, I don't want them to buy a dump either, right? Let's give them good advice and make sure we do what's best for them. And if we get paid, we get paid. But we can only kind of say that in a somewhat of a nonchalant way when we got a lot of clients that we're flirting with, right? So the key to everything is, most every problem that you're going to have in real estate can be overcome by having more people to talk to.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. And that way, I've said before, if your one client is always late and doesn't listen to anything you suggest, and he's a bigot, and he wants to buy homes, 2 hours away, you're like, well, I guess that's what I'm doing today. Right. Yeah. But if you got 50 clients, then you tell that guy to, screw off.
Yep, exactly. And especially when it comes to just on the lead gen side of things, trying to track down this guy, or, if it's a difficult seller, interviewing on appointments, or, just trying to lock down that person when you don't absolutely like, hey, I got to have this in order to, make my mortgage next month or whatever. You definitely open yourself up that you're willing to deal with a lot less. And I think that's definitely, not to quote Bold, but, when they say, a life by design, that's the life that I want to have, is that, I definitely want to service my clients and do everything I can, but, when you're able to design your business the way you want to, you don't have to be so reactionary to everything.
I love that you said that. One last thing I want to talk about teams is just kind of the future, like the opportunity, right? So I know Joanne and Tom, they're big thinkers, right? There might become a time where they have, a bigger team, and they go to expansion, and they need a director of sales and all these kind of things. Like that, I assume that's appealing for you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, whenever I first joined the team, I had a pretty aggressive, our team is, not quite as strenuous now as when I first joined. As far as, when you do join, there's some, kind of metrics you have to hit. I basically was, just about an ISA for 6 months. So I joined the business officially full-time, 9 to 5, if not more than 40 hours a week, from November 1st. And I didn't have my first closing until, I believe it was May is when I had my closing. So something I put under contract in April. The first guy actually closed was somebody who was in my real estate class, and that I had met. And I think if you would have told me when I was in the class with this guy that, hey, you're not going to close a deal until this guy buys a home, I would I'm glad no one would have told me that, because I may have would have ran away. But, and then, I mean, I won Rookie of the Year. I mean, not to sound braggadocious, but just from May until November. So all of that, and I had all these people on the team telling me, before I even interviewed, hey, 6 months without an income, shouldn't be that long, doesn't have to be that long, but, be prepared for that. Well, that's fine for a month or two, at grinding at 40 hours a week on weekends at least. But, even the most strong-willed person, and I had no expenses at the time, I was still basically living on a college kid budget. 2-3 months of that, grinding your ass off for no income, and people just keep telling you, hey, it'll come. You start calling BS a little bit, because I don't care how strong-willed you are. After 3 months of like calling that much, you're like, y'all don't know what the hell y'all are talking about. Screw it. This is getting crazy, and I even had my own family, who was the most supportive family, you could possibly say, they're like, what in the hell here, but sure enough, I listened to the systems and, the advice, and, was able to, just in between May of my first closing and basically November, able to, do enough to, make Rookie of the Year. And, probably would have definitely, probably had more success in my first year of real estate than, most people who start their first job, even though all that, commission was on the back end of the year.
Yeah.
But, when I first joined the team, you just don't know what you don't know. And when I first joined the team, 3 or 4 months in, I'm like, I can do this. I can start my own team. I want to start my own team. And if you would have told me a month, 2 months, 5 months in with the Curtin team that I would still be an agent with them 4 years later, I would have said, you're crazy. It's just not something that I can do this on my own. I want to run my own business. But I just it was a case if I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
And the longer I've stayed with the Curtins, the more I realized, like, I would never want to create a team that was not absolutely top tier. That was not a Peters company, a Curtin team, all the other big ones. I would never want to, create a mediocre team. And the more that I saw of what it took to create a high performing team and really run that on a day-to-day basis and all the stuff that comes with that, the longer I've stayed there.
Yeah.
Just because to see that done on a high level, and when you and it takes time, it takes time of, like, being on a team, seeing what team leaders have to deal with, the difficult things that they have to do. I've also, talking with solo agents and seeing what, also what their work-life balance ratio is and what things they have to do, has kept me there, because I realized, although at the beginning I was like, yeah, I want to run my own team, I want to be the Tom Curtin, maybe I want to have more of an office life and less, driving around helping people, showing homes. I've seen the other things that I would have to do if I was that, especially to do it on a high level. And it's a lot. And so I've just realized that, maybe that's in my future for one day. I think, knowing that I don't know what I don't know and seeing what all that takes, I've stayed there because, there's just some things I don't want to deal with,
Right.
I thought that I wanted to, be a marketing guy. I thought, I took marketing classes in college. I love marketing. It looks easy. I can do that. Or, hey, I love, like, staging homes and, suggesting upgrades and doing renovations and stuff. The more I've done that, the more I realized I do not want to do that. I mean, even if I would be good at it,
Right.
that's not where my skills can be best used. I don't want to create flyers, or, I don't want to even though there's tons of workarounds for all these little examples. I don't want to do that. I want to call people, talk to people, show them houses, get them under contract, become friends with them. And that's it. All that other stuff is stuff that, I don't want to be spending my day doing.
Now, I do want to make an important point here, which is it's got to be a win-win, right? So, I mean, is there anybody that wouldn't want to be in business with Tyler, just having spent the last 35 minutes with him? I mean, sharp guy, learning based, totally organized, nice dresser, good smile, right? So, don't you think the curtains wake up every day and say to themselves, we're so like, this is awesome. We get to be in business with this guy, right? Yet they also wake up with this thought that's like, how do we make sure that we continue to grow our world, our organization, and provide enough value where he wants to stay, right? So Tyler wakes up every day grateful he gets to be in relationship with the curtains, and the curtains wake up every day grateful that they get to be in a relationship with Tyler. That's the point. It's not, let me see if I can find somebody to do this work for a little less so I can get a little bit more. It's Tyler wakes up and says, if I one day decide I want more of a 9 to 5 role, then I go to the curtains and say, hey, I want to be director of sales. Show me the growth plan for that. Hey, I want to take this business to, you know, South Georgia or Hawaii or whatever. Let's expand. I want to be in charge of that. What do I need to learn in the next 6 months or 3 years so that I'm a shoe-in for that type of role, right? And because they love Tyler and they want him to be happy and to grow in their organization, they help that happen. And I can tell you, I mean, just from knowing Joanne and Tom for 10 years, they would be all about that. Don't you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. But I will say that, a lot of that is, comes off as tough love. Um,
Yeah. Well,
you know,
this is important. I want you guys to hear this clearly.
yeah.
Say that
And,
again.
I'll tell you the full story. I mean, I think, just to, being the most honest with you, this is nothing that, if Tom or Joanne sees this call that they're going to be like, I can't believe you said that. But, it's tough love at sometimes. And because they have, you know, they have lofty goals, they have their own goals that they need to hit. They want their team to close X number of houses. And the only way they do that is to make sure that we close our numbers. So there's a lot of, and I hate this word, but accountability that comes along with that. And I'm
Yeah.
someone who I I don't like accountability. I don't like, I mean, accountability is a nice word for saying somebody on your ass. And I don't like that, and so for even y'all to take this step that y'all have done to kind of get some of that accountability, to be learning based in what you're doing, and you may even have like a, you got a small team atmosphere here in, probably in this, productivity coaching.
Yeah. I mean, they say I basically run the biggest team in the office.
Yeah, yeah. If I was a solo agent, I'm going to be honest. I would like, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I would be hard pressed to, if no one was making me, I would be hard pressed to sign up for something like this. I really salute the people who um, have that drive to be able to do that, because I just know my own personality. I don't like it. But
Yeah,
yet,
but don't sell yourself short here because you're a rookie of the year, buyer's agent of the year. Maybe we don't call it accountability, but I was going to get to kind of your daily rhythm. Like I want to hear kind of what a typical day looks like for you. There's a
yeah.
ton of accountability in there.
Oh, for sure. And so, but to expand on what I was saying, I'm definitely someone who needs accountability. Being on the team
Generally,
is
the people that
that
don't like it need it the most.
and has shown me a lot of that. But because I have to be so accountable to them, I'm not going to make any less money with them holding me accountable. I'm only going to make more and be able to live the life I want. And one of the cool things that the
All right,
curtain
class dismissed.
say
There's
what?
the aha right there, guys. There's the
Yeah.
nugget. Write it down.
And one of the things that I think that's really cool about the curtains, and I think any successful team, and you see a lot of this at Family Reunion as well, and in Bold as well, is that when we go on our, we do a retreat once a year, basically goal setting. And this past year when we did it, we spent more time talking about our personal goals in our life than our business goals. We'll know how we'll get to our business goals. But they wanted to know, hey, what do you want to save up for and spend money? Like, what is it? A boat? Pay for kids' college education? Is there a shiny object? Is it a new car? What, why are you wanting to make this money, or why, because we're going to pressure you these goals. Why are you wanting to do that? I mean, it comes down to the why of everything. So we wrote down, every goal we had, from our spiritual goals, our, family relationship goals that we wanted to have, and the curtains almost make you plan a vacation, or put a high, and that's weird for a boss to be like, all right, where are you going? Where's your next trip at? Where are you going? What's your next thing? I mean, I've had Tom talk before I, bought my new car. He's like, all right, so when you get a new car? And so it's that type of accountability that is not the, more aggressive type, but is really important, whenever, because in this business, if you don't know why you're doing this and don't have a bigger goal to strive for, it makes everything so much harder, because it's going to be really hard to, lead gen every day, have those difficult conversations with sellers if it's just to make a paycheck.
Yeah, and another way of saying accountability is standards. Like I've heard Gary Keller say, I love you, Tyler. I would never fire you, but my standards might fire you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's really that simple. It's like, we know exactly what we expect of each other. And when you do this stuff, you will have a life by design and more.
Yeah.
But these are the standards. Okay. If you follow the standards and you hit the standards, everyone's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
You let excuses get in the way of following the standards, can't work here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not personal. Yeah. It's the standards that fired you.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I just like anything in real estate, just because you join a team don't mean you'll have, ebbs and flows in your business. And I've definitely hit those, those low points as well. And I don't want anybody to be scared away of like, oh crap, if I don't do this, am I going to get fired? If you're doing, first of all, if you're doing the activities that they tell you to do, which is the same exact thing that, anybody in Keller Williams, Bill, anybody's going to tell you to do. If you're doing those things, those closings are going to come. But if you're doing those things and they haven't come yet and they see you working, it's not, it's not the end of the world.
Well,
they know.
What happens is, assuming you're in business with a strong leader, the leader's going to pull you aside and say, hey, I am so proud of you for all this effort. Help me understand where you're struggling. And then he'll coach you and teach you in that gap, and then you'll have better results.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And that's where,
if you've got a poor leader, they don't even pay attention, they don't follow it, then don't be surprised if you're not successful. Mm-hmm. All right, I want to talk just walk us through kind of what a typical day in your world looks like.
So, pre-COVID times or COVID times?
Let's do COVID times.
Yeah, well, I think this is the way it's probably going to stay for a while. So I used to be
This is the new normal, y'all.
Yeah, I used to be a pretty big office hound, even though I didn't have to be in the Curtin office every day. I did like showing up. I always told everybody I don't like working from home. Now that I've been forced to during COVID times, I've definitely kind of switched from that. So it's waking up pretty early. Go ahead and knocking out anything that I can do before an acceptable time to call is. Usually I don't like to call people before about 8:30. So if I can knock anything out from the previous night, I like to do that. Hit emails or whatever, and then I like to structure my day to where I definitely get my lead gen time in, but it really just depends from day to day as to where that comes in. Now, Bill, put on your earmuffs here, and don't let me, I don't.
Just kidding. Hey, unmute yourself. Sorry, I was trying to
Yeah,
make a joke, but then the button stopped working.
Okay,
Say
well, I
that
don't know
again.
what you heard. But so anyway, I'm not the best time blocker as far as saying, hey, here's for sure when I'm going to lead gen. For me to set up my life like I want to, I'm saying, hey, I'm sitting down and I'm working from my computer from this time to this time. And so I personally like, dealing with the daily business as it comes in, because if a seller calls me or a buyer calls me, I want to take that call right then, because if I say, oh, nope, I'm blocking lead gen timeout right now. Well, when I call that person back, then they're not available, then the whole thing. So I time block in a way that, I set out my work time and my personal time. I think that's definitely important. But, as being in real estate, that can be sometimes hard to do. But it's just getting in, I do, the goal is, 20 contacts a day, or, kind of how I've looked at it now is, if you can't make 20 contacts a day, make as many, how do I say this, as many meaningful calls as you can. So I'd rather talk to 10 people for 10 minutes each than a bunch of people who don't want to talk to me and hang up on me for a half second. So it's really just, getting down to who you need to talk to that day, and having a game plan. And so, and a lot of that comes with, I like to plan my stuff out on Monday mornings, like, hey, here's what the week holds. Here's where I have closings. Here's where I know I have showings. Here's where you're putting your work time in between that. So even though I don't like the time blocking, because I think it's so hard in real estate, you got to do some of it, or else you're just going to be, going crazy. So that answered your question, Bill. Sorry if I got off task there for a little bit.
Well, you were a little vague. So you have personal time calendared. No matter when you do the lead gen, you basically don't stop until you've had close to 20, right?
Yeah.
And do you have like a standard in terms of, I book X number of appointments a week or something of that nature?
Yeah. So, we have basically, hey, if I want to close this many homes this year, that means I have to have X amount of appointments, or I have to have X amount of under contracts, which means X amount of appointments, because you're always going to have fall off there. And you break that all the way down into a weekly goal. And let's say, this week, my goal is to have, 3 buyers appointments, and maybe one of those buyers don't sign. So my realistic goal is 2 buyers sign this week. Well, this week, if I, only sign 1, then that carries over to the next week. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of every month, whatever the total was, if I'm over, then you don't get any bonus points. But if you're under, then that goes down to the next month. And so it just keeps you on track to know, like, hey, I'm really behind, or, hey, I'm doing okay. I need to focus on, getting these people under contract. And it keeps you, week to week, knowing where your focus needs to be.
I mean, it kind of sounds like accountability.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. And I have to review my numbers with my team leaders. Now it's Joanne. I have a call with her every Monday to track, not only, hey, what'd you do last week, but who were you talking to specifically this week? And, who are we getting under contract? And, at least what the strategy is,
Right. All right, I want to talk about one more thing, and then we'll open it up to everyone. Talk to us about profit share. I don't know. I'm trying to look it up right now, roughly what some of your numbers are, but you're not like I'm making $10,000 a month or anything like that. But why is that even relevant to you? What have you learned from being a part of Joanne and Tom's world? What have you, where is it in terms of like top of mind? What kind of priority do you have around that? Do you have any profit share related goals that you can speak to?
Yeah. So it's, when I look at the whole business, it's not the top priority. First thing is actual buy and sell business. That's what gets the paychecks in. Second on that is, my investments, which feed the paychecks. I can't invest in real estate if I don't have paychecks coming in. And then the third thing for me is the profit share, because it's another revenue stream. I think the biggest thing that has motivated me on the profit share, even before I had anybody paying me out anything, is seeing what Tom and Joanne's profit share looks like, and what some of the top agents' profit shares look like, and just how much that is just total, your unfair share of income, and if you can, better some people's lives in the process of that, then that's a win-win-win. So I do have a goal of adding, 3 agents a year to my downline. I do, kind of follow up with people on a, kind of just like I do leads. Now, it's not my top priority. So, when I sit down and I got to really be, grinding, it's not the first people I call, but I still track them like I do regular real estate leads. They're in my, in my system. We had Sync before, and now we're transitioning over to Command. But, I follow up with them, and, just like anything else with real estate, first steps first, take your test. I've helped out with a lot of that. But, I think the biggest, most rewarding thing that's come about that is, truly helping people out. When you see somebody in your downline who, is now, making a living off of how you set them up, just getting them into Keller Williams or whatever, that's pretty rewarding. Just being able to see, somebody fulfill their dreams by, and, you were a small part of that. So it's 100%. Definitely some of that. And I like this right here. I like teaching, so to say, or, helping people out. And I think I have a pretty rare, position in some of this, is that I will tell you, totally honestly everything, because I feel like you're going to find out anything on your own anyway. So, me being honest and letting you know where my shortcomings are and what I could have done to change. So I like talking to, recruits and telling them, hey, look, this is what I did. No, I'm not the most successful agent in the office or anything, but, I like to think I've done pretty good, and I do live a great work-lifestyle balance ratio. And so I kind of want that for a lot of people. So I'm just like, hey, look, here's the compass path forward.
Right. Just so you know, Tyler is about to join the Comma Club. Tyler's made $902 this year in profit share. And just for you guys' edification, Joanne's made over $9,200, and Tom's made over $8,000 in profit share year to date. So there's some pretty unbelievable opportunity with profit share. Okay, Donna has a series of really good questions I want to pose to you. What is your preferred method for generating leads? And how do you feel about leaving your database ads with the team when you leave, if that's the case? So talk to us a little bit about correct me if I'm wrong, but generally speaking, when you join a team, you're going to tag all of your people in your database, like your contacts, your sphere of influence, right? When you leave the team, all of those people come with you, and the team no longer markets to them. Any leads that are generated because you were on the team or using the team's tools, those stay with the team. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what is your preferred method for generating leads?
So this is something that has changed over time. I basically, like I told y'all, I started out as basically an ISA. So it was calling a bunch of internet leads, which the team gets through whatever sources, or I say internet leads, but basically our big database of leads, a lot are generated from different sources, everything from, not Zillow now, but was Zillow at the time, Google AdWords, all this other stuff. And I did that for a long time before now I've kind of pulled back from that a little bit, because it's that you're going to spend a lot more time doing that for less. That's not my ideal client. I want a client who is trusting in me. And I think especially now with where the market's changed over the last couple of years, especially in the last year, now I'm a lot more focused when I'm doing lead gen on my own personal sphere or my own little tight knit group of clients, past clients, people who you have trust with. And that's not immediate business that's going to show up right now. Sometimes it can be. It's definitely playing the long game. So, those internet leads, I've just had too many that I followed up with for 3 years who I did everything right with. Nobody would have, even with all the coaching I've done, lead generation classes, I don't think anybody would have done anything different with some of these leads that I've done. It's a part of the game. But, some of these people who have invested tons of time in for 3 years and when they close with somebody else, it takes a while for that to happen. But then you're like, no, I'm going to invest my time in people who, even though it's not immediate business right now, who are going to pick up the phone and call me whenever it's time. So I've definitely switched a lot more to the long game and, connecting with those people who we call on the team nets, people who we've had relationships with, and that's, it's your SOI, for, the individual agent, and that's everybody, people you meet out, friends, family, past clients is the biggest one. People who know you and trust you and would choose you over, going and reading reviews on, Google or something, or just calling the first person who answers.
Right. But as a new agent, like I've said this a bunch the last couple of weeks, is somebody would say, well, do I need to call strangers? I'd say, well, no, not necessarily, but you do need to have the number of appointments that you have committed to so that you can earn the income that you say is important, right? So if your sphere of influence is spitting out 1 lead a week, or let's say 1 lead a month, but you have a desire to close 25 homes, well, where are the other people coming from, right?
Yeah.
You got to grow your sphere, right? The only way to do that is to meet strangers. So if you don't want to call them, you got to do it some other way, right?
Yeah.
Posting a bunch of Facebook ads, hosting a bunch of open houses, going to networking events, right? You don't have to do anything, but if you're not getting the results that you need, something's got to change.
Yeah. And that's why, I didn't realize this before joining the team, but that's why absolutely starting on a team was my for sure best way. I was 26 years old. So, I couldn't look at my friends to buy homes. I was, going to start working in the Roswell, wanted to work in the Roswell area. I knew not a single person in the Roswell area. I'm not from here. So I had nobody, I say nobody, but, short of calling, my friend's parents, I didn't have, anybody who I knew in my system, was not from this area, nothing. So I definitely built my book of business starting out with calling strangers. The lady who I actually closed this morning at 10 o'clock is one of the first people that I spoke to when I started doing real estate. I sold her a home after a year of following up with her, and now just sold her the home that I bought for her, and helped her buy another one. And that was a trickle effect that I got another lead in that I closed as well last week, all from that, one listing and one buyer. And that was a conversation I had, 4 years ago, and it showed up today, or it showed up in the last 2 weeks as 4 closings.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. It's so weird how things come about, and you never know. That's why I never get down on yourself, whenever you're making these calls and you don't feel, that immediate business rushing in. Just like me, whenever, I had started out calling for, took me 6 months to get my first closing, and with a lot of calling, it will come. It will come, and it's going to come in sometimes the most weird ways.
What's your, I'm sure you have some systems that you might be able to share some details with, but what is your best strategy for, your best strategy for tracking all this stuff? Like, how did you keep up with that woman for 4 years?
So, before it was Sync, which is basically, well, first we started out with Follow Up Boss, then we went over to Sync for our lead gen platform, our CRM. But now we've transitioned everything over to Command. And so a little bit of how Sync trained me, and is kind of how I've set up my command, is I'm a monthly follow-up guy on most of my leads. I like to keep a pretty big pool of leads, and, I just put, let's say a July label on them. And these are the list of people that I need to call in July. No specific time frame. It doesn't matter if I call this person the 1st of July, the last July. I just need to touch base with them here. Once I have a conversation with them, depending on what I hear, if they tell me, nope, it's going to be, a year from now. All right, well, I'm going to call you in 6 months then. So then I put you, if I call you in July, you say, call me in a year, I'm going to touch base with you in December. And so forth and so on. I set it up a little bit different with some reminders in command now. If somebody tells me, hey, I'm getting back from vacation on this date and I'm ready to, start looking at things then, well, then I, select a specific reminder to call them back on that day. Hey, Mr. Buyer, hope you had a great vacation. I know you mentioned that, you're ready to get the task started. You ready to talk to my lender, whatever. So those are people that I got to call on a specific day. Everybody else, if they tell me it's a year from now, it doesn't matter if I call them on, September 1st or September 10th, So, I do it in a monthly way and just make sure that I get through. That kind of looks at my workload for the month. If I look and see that I have 100 leads, I got to, follow up with this month. Whenever I'm sitting down ready to call people, I have my list, I have them ready to go. And, then if the list is a little shorter, then, all right, I need to start beefing up this list a little bit and, kind of getting creative. Maybe that's the time I start calling some past clients, or, that's time I start checking in with my sphere a little bit, who's not in a specific month.
Love that. I love that. Well, I want to, it looks like we have one or two more questions here. Do you have just a couple more minutes, Tyler?
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Okay. Heather asks, you see or she sees you on Facebook that you sell houses and play golf. What kind of golfer are you, by the way? You bogey golfer? Scratch golf?
Let's see here. Let's see here. Haven't been able to play hardly the month of July at all.
I haven't hardly been able to play since I got married 12 years ago.
Well, yeah, that's definitely important. So I'm a 6.1 handicap right now.
Damn, man. All right, you got to take me out one day.
I'm down.
All right. Is golf where you find a lot of your business, your nurtures? And what other ways are you communicating with your Mets or nurturing those relationships?
Yeah, golf is absolutely one way that I find clients. And I think is why Tom and Joanne don't mind me playing golf every once in a while, during the week, is because, and it took me, sometimes I would feel guilty, granted, I love golf. I love going, it's the thing I like to do. But when you're looking to nurture your SOI, the first place to go is the place that you have a shared interest in. Most people don't play golf. So wherever you have a shared interest with a group of people, whether that's a Bible study, whether that's a book club, whether that's a Rotary, there's a lot of realtors in Rotary, whatever that ideal thing is, if you've got kids and they're, softball teams, wherever your group of people that are going to be able to trust you and you're going to be able to, expand those relationships, is definitely where, you should look. So yes, it's golf for me, but not in a traditional standpoint that I'm like going out there, with cigars and, hey, I hope you do business with me on this deal. And, hey, hey buddy, bring your friend who's looking to buy a house so that, I can, press him for 4 hours and, buy him a bunch of drinks on the course and hopefully he'll use me. It's really just a group of shared people. It's a way to meet people. It's very hard for me to play 4 hours of golf side by side with another person and for us to not be friends at the end to some route, hey, where do you live? Hey, what are you looking to do? So I've definitely picked up random clients on the golf course. I keep business cards in my bag. And then at the end of the round to say, hey, give me a call if there's anything I can ever do for you. Actually met one about 2 months ago like that. And he's going to be looking here at the end of the year to buy and sell in Woodstock. So it doesn't have to be golf, just wherever you can look to expand your sphere of influence, wherever, that's best suited for you.
Cool. All right, we've been talking about this idea of surprising and delighting a lot, right? How do we continue to develop those relationships that we're nurturing? Tell us a little bit about how you or how the Curtains continue to forge those relationships over time? I know you guys are big on client events, or you're probably pivoting a little bit
Yeah,
based
we
on
used to
that,
be.
but help us understand what you guys are doing to pour into your people now.
So the client events are, and we do those. We try to get a little bit creative with them. During COVID time, we did a a safe car wash where they could just come in. It's a value proposition for them, but we don't do like one of our big things was a movie party. We don't do the movie party because we feel that if we invite you to a movie that you're going to buy and sell the house with us, or a lot of these people who come to our events are past clients, or that if we do a movie we expect you to sell a house today, or that all we have to do is just, hey, we're just going to throw some parties, hold some events, and sit and wait for people to call us when the phones ring. We hold the event so that we have something to touch our database with. So we hold the event is secondary. The event itself is not lead gen. What lead gen is reaching out to your people and saying, hey, just checking in with you. Wanted to make sure you got our movie party invite. How's everything going? What can I be helping out with? Can you come? Whatever. So that's the lead gen part of it. These top teams who, hold these events or whatever it is, the events is not why, they get they have success directly. It's the lead gen that comes around with it.
Right. It's the invitation. It's the follow-up. Hey, thanks for coming. Hey,
it's something to talk about.
Sorry you were out of town this day. We'd love to see you. Let's go grab a cup of coffee. By the way, what do you need help with right now? It's that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because when I'm trying to follow up with a past client and I don't have anything to talk with them about, which I still do, but I don't love to do it. I'm calling them. It's like, hey, how's it going? How you been? Hopefully I became friends with them throughout the process. I really do become friends with a lot of my clients after. But it always comes off to me as like, oh, I feel like they can tell why I'm calling. I'm just trying to drum up business, or something like that. So when I have a value proposition to give them, I'm like, hey, I got a reason for reaching out, then it's like, hey, I'm just calling you to reach out, to see if you want to come, I'm giving you this free thing or this service. And it doesn't have to be an event. It can be, whatever. I look for any creative ways. If I see a home that goes up for sale across from the street of my, like an old seller or buyer or something, I'm like, hey, did you see that house that went up, across the street? Oh God, it's crazy price. Yeah, I know. Just whatever to stay a resource for your people.
I like that idea. They're like, oh my gosh, can you believe that's worth 500 now? And they're like, yeah, you must have had a good buyer's agent, 2 years ago when you bought in there for 350.
I just try to become, and this is like, I'm not a realtor. I'm an aggressive friend maker and an aggressive connector.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm an aggressive connector.
Yeah, no. So if I hear, and I've seen this play out with one of my mentors who's in commercial real estate. The joke I give with him is that he doesn't actually work in commercial real estate. He just sends emails all day long and connects people with different people and friends with friends, and then just sits back and reaps the benefits of it. I'm very much a part of his system. And so whenever he has somebody who is looking to do anything in real estate, he doesn't say, hey, my buddy who's in real estate is here in Atlanta. Let me know if you want his number. He says, hey, I got a friend here who works in real estate. I'm about to put y'all in a group chat. Can you talk today at 2? And I'm like, sure, absolutely. And, because he gives me that much a connection, anybody he connects me with, I'm there for. He has, as a favor, I try to return the favor whenever I can. He has in the past, hey, I got a friend who is buying a house, out in California, and he wants you to look over an inspection or something like that. Or, if there's Or, hey, I got a friend who's looking to get in real estate. Will you talk with him? And he does the same thing. Hey, this is my buddy Tyler. He can help you out. You're free for a call at 2. And I'm willing to jump through a hoop for that person all day long. I'm like, yep, I'm calling that friend of his to make sure I'm there. So if I ever hear, my clients, they own a business, how can I help you? If I don't care what business you're in, we can always help each other out. Right. If let's say you're in insurance, hey, if I hear somebody needs insurance, I'm going to not say to that person, hey, I have somebody. If you're looking for insurance, I say, hey, friend who I trust, can I have this person call you, and like really make the connection.
Right. So, and also let that be a lesson for us as we're making connections. Like whenever I'm setting up somebody with Aubrey or it's always a 3-way text. Aubrey, meet so-and-so. This is how I know him. This is what you'll love talking to him about. Hey, so-and-so, meet Aubrey. He does this. He's great at this, and you'll love each other. Here's everyone's contact information. Go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just being that aggressive friend maker, aggressive connector, and then I plug real estate in on the back end.
Man, I love that. I love that. All right, who else has some questions they'd like to ask? You can type it in or shout it out. We'll do a couple more minutes unless Tyler wants some more.
Hey, Tyler, good afternoon. This is LaWanda Crane. I have a question for you. I know you said that you do, you're on the golf course a lot too. Do you ever, just passive marketing, when I look at it, do you ever wear like any Keller Williams gear or anything like that? Or do you wear, the Curtains team type of advertising when you go as well? Or you just keep it simple?
Yeah, I actually do not. I don't have too much Keller Williams wear. Would definitely wear if I had it. I think I got like one Curtain Team shirt. I've wore my Keller Williams Cappers hat a little bit.
Okay.
But that is from how I mean, it's definitely a conversation piece. I mean, I've heard everything through Bold, wearing your name tag out, the whole wearing it upside down thing. So somebody asked, that's a very passive form, and your ratio on that, even as, every Keller Williams model shows, your ratio on that passive marketing, so to say, even if it's just wearing a shirt, is not going to be huge. But it's just like the realtors, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody here, but the realtors who, put their face on a magnet on the side of their car and think that's, somebody's going to, call you coming down the road. How I like to do my marketing is aggressive marketing, and that's through personal connections. I will not play around the golf without the person knowing that I'm in real estate. And I don't do that by, wearing anything or saying, hey, I'm Tyler, I'm a realtor. Let me know if you need anything. Let's tee off on the first tee now. How I do it is, hey, hey, where do you live? What do you do? How long, how long have you lived here? What do you do for a living? Anytime you ask somebody what they do for a living, their next question to you in a good conversation is going to be, well, what do you do? Well, as a matter of fact, let me tell you what I do. So,
right.
Just anywhere you can plug in that aggressive marketing.
I do think you should hit up the curtains for like a little driver cover with,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have them. Yeah. I'll see if they want to sponsor me and put their name on my bag or something, if we can work out a deal there.
Oh man, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
See if they want to sponsor me playing golf too. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you so much. I do like that you're an aggressive relationship maker. I do like that. So thank you so much for that and answering my question.
I know that's just the specific example of golf. And like I said, I know everybody's, not going to be playing golf. So, but wherever those, mutual places are that you run into people, or if people already know you're in real estate, however you can plug it in, and just like yesterday, hope everybody watched Chartmasters. Even if I'm not going to do any education at all, Chartmasters is the first thing I looked at, or, I for sure watch. So, watching that yesterday and hearing what, the good slides were, the party chatter, just being able to talk to somebody about real estate. And even if you just get one tidbit of like, hey, I know this one fact about what's going on in real estate right now. Whenever you talk to those people, if you can bring that up in a non-cheesy way, not like, you know, hey, how you doing? Oh, by the way, the condo sales are really down in Atlanta. You know, if you can plug it in of, you know, wherever you can, the more knowledge you know, the more that you're going to be able to share something relevant to them. So just always being able to talk to somebody about real estate, because I'm not one who likes to be cheesy, and I don't like for people to think that I'm hitting them up for business. And so I like to do it in a lot more sneaky way. You know, if they know I'm the expert, how can I ask them a question so that they'll ask me a question back?
Right. And by the way, this only works when you genuinely want to help people and you are willing to give them the information they need and then allow them to make a decision that makes the most sense for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way that works. If you don't genuinely believe, number one, that you're highly skilled and you're a giver and you come from contribution and you come from curiosity, it's not going to work. You have to come off with the attitude that Tyler's got, which is, look, I know I'm really good at what I do and I focus on it every day, yet I'm not going to bully you into buying or selling something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have definitely had, I feel like if anybody does, I've definitely had friends, fraternity brothers who, when I first got in this business, I'm like, these people are for sure going to use me. I don't even have to talk to them. You know what? I can talk to them. I had a buddy who I lived with him for a year in college. I went to his wedding. I had a lunch with him, a true business lunch, about a month before his wedding. We talked about real estate. You know, and then about a month after his wedding, I see a Snapchat of him painting a new house. And I'm like, buddy, what in the world is going on here? You know, please don't tell me that, you know.
New wife picked the realtors. What happened?
Yeah, well, that's always a typical line they give. But, you know, it's never assuming that anybody is going to use you. But when you start looking at it from a perspective, because I have seen friends who have used another realtor and they just get, I mean, there are some not very good realtors out there. And I see it all the time when I'm on the list side, you know, because you know, I do listings, and I get offers in that I'm like, this person just lost this offer over the smallest thing because this realtor was protecting their client. And yet I know for sure this client would have bought the home without the couch, but because they asked for the couch, we didn't go with their offer, or we waited on another offer to come in and they lost out. And so it's just like you said, Bill, like, you know, if you don't truly think that, you know, you're the best realtor, or, you know, work the hardest, whatever that is, you start changing your mindset of like, hey, I'm calling this friend to try to get business, to I'm calling this friend to make sure they know that I'm really good at what I do so I can save them. You know, I don't want them to go with, if you truly believe you're the best at your job and that they're going to have the fewest headaches and get the best deal with you, then you make those calls, because like, if it's not their responsibility to know how good, you know, to just assume that they're going to use me and assume that I'm the best because I post a lot of pictures on my Instagram about houses I close. I have to reach out to make sure, because it's my responsibility to make sure they don't use anybody else, because the odds of them having a better experience with anybody else is not that great.
I think that last line is really the takeaway. It's the odds of them having a real estate experience that's better than the one they're going to have with me, with somebody else. Not good.
No.
Like, I'm going to wow them every step of the way because we're systematized and we're organized and we're really good at what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And we have great technology and we got great systems.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for taking some time with us today. Super grateful. You did a fantastic job. I just want to just take a moment to publicly thank you for that. I know we've gotten to know each other over the last couple of years, and like I said at the beginning, I've always admired your work ethic and your professionalism, and I really appreciate you spending some time with our crew today. Does anyone have any last minute questions?
Thank you, Tyler. I just wanted to ask you quickly, do you feel that you have less personal flexibility working with the team? I interviewed with a team and I just felt like I was just getting into another job. That's what it felt like for me. And I didn't want to do that. So how do you feel about it? Do you
What
feel
do
like
you
you're working a 9 to 5 like any other job?
What do you mean by personal? Uh,
Like if you needed to take time off for family reasons, or like you were saying, you mentioned you felt a little guilty about playing golf during the day.
mhm.
Um, that's what I'm talking about. You know, when you go to a job, you're kind of accountable for every minute of the day, and
Yeah.
you have to ask permission to take vacation or take a day off. How do you feel? Is that the case working with a team?
Um, Not at all. I feel like I have a lot more personal flexibility with being on the team than I do. Now, granted, because there's very few times that I absolutely have to be doing something on the team. You know, we got a call at Monday morning, we got a call on a Thursday, I got a couple other calls I got to do, team events, stuff like that. But outside of that, you absolutely still have to do the activities, but when you do them, it's up to you. If you can get your results for what you need out of less time or whatever it is, wherever you fit it in, then that's totally up to you. The team has given me more flexibility because, not only for the closings I have, I'm not having to do everything. Having, all the support I have frees me up to, do what I want to do. Now, I'm saying this in a very, kind of convoluted way into, I know that, I want a 9 to 5 job as best I can. Granted, there's some days where, hey, I want to, play golf in the morning or something like that. I love my flexibility of my schedule if I want it to be, but I want to set my business up as a 9 to 5 job for me personally, because I don't like showing on weekends. When all my, friends and family, my mom's a teacher who's, got to spend time with her as well, which is about an hour drive. She's only off on the weekends. And, I don't want to be working whenever everybody else is off. There's not a lot of fun things to do on a Monday night, or, Tuesday morning or whatever. There's definitely no good TV on, so there's no reason to do that unless you watch soap operas. So I like the 9 to 5 and being able to set my business up that way because, in the evenings, I want to go do something with friends or whatever. I want to be able to pick my schedule. And so because of that, the team has offered me, functions to be able to do that. When I had COVID, 2 weeks ago, and I still had, just because I have COVID doesn't mean that I have clients that don't want to see properties. I can't tell them as their realtor that I can't help out. So I was able to get a team member to, help me out and show that's something we do for each other so that I can have vacation. And, and I do the same thing for them. So, I understand the solo realtor's perspective, but I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to put in less time as a solo realtor and make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's also kind of like Pam and I, for example, like, prior to us officially, coming together as a team, there was hey, there's going to be some time I need some help. Can you cover for me? Hey, yeah, I'm going to need some help every once in a while. Can you cover for me? And that kind of, informal relationship at the beginning allowed us to take care of our needs outside of real estate, right? That would allow me to take some time off Friday night to Saturday night, or it would allow me to, or allow Pam to go up to her vacation house over the weekend, that kind of stuff, where like, we didn't exchange money, but it was hey, I got you and you got me. And this just continues to support our goal of building that life by design. Okay, any other questions, guys? Tyler, thank you, my friend. I'm super, wait, something just came in, things, oh, never mind, that's to me privately. Okay, Tyler, thank you, sir. I appreciate all your efforts and appreciate the time you've given to us today. Any parting words, any words of advice?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. But I will say, I salute y'all in doing what you're doing in this productivity. It's the thing that, not a lot of agents that would take that step to do. But it's absolutely something that's going to be key to your success. I mean, you have, a small little team here, in whatever that means. So, y'all keep fighting the good fight, keep listening to Bill. He's a smart man. He knows what he's doing. Me and him are on the same page on just about everything. So, he's definitely got the keys to success, but I just salute y'all in doing this. Hang in there. If your business is not where it wants to, figure out how to get it there, do those things. And especially even if it sounds like that, whenever the belief is the lowest is right before the breaking point, the time for the darkest before they get light. And if you keep doing those activities, it will pan out.
I thought you were going to bust out the Bob Dylan lyric.
Right? What is it?
Is what is it? Dark before the dawn. Damn,
it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah. There you go.
And if there's anything that I can ever do for any of you guys, you let me know. I'll be totally honest with you with anything. So, if there's anything that I can ever do, Bill's definitely got my contact info. You can, find me on Facebook, whatever it may be. Anything I can ever do to help out, y'all let me know.
Beautiful. Y'all have a great, or Tyler, have a great weekend. We'll hang out for a bit and do the launch mastermind. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yep.